Golden Bridge is falling down. Boys and girls together, me and many more. We shoot the life fantastic on the sidewalks of New York.
Daisy!
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer too.
Now just the ladies!
I'm that crazy, all for the love of you.
Now the gentlemen!
It won't be a stylish marriage. I can't afford a carriage.
Now everybody!
But you're the sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two.
One more song!
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, for it's root for the whole team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Palace Theater. Tonight we are pleased to present to you the Golden Heart Revue. We are the Palace Players, and we all live right here in beautiful Fairbanks, Alaska. How about you folks? Any chance some of you are from out of town? Do we have any locals here tonight? I see a few, all
The
right.
loud ones in that 6th row over there.
Now watch out for the locals, folks. And don't believe them when they try to tell you that moose nuggets taste like pine nuts.
Well, a lot of you have some questions about Fairbanks, and those of us who live here already know that the best part about living here is being able to talk about it.
Well, tonight we're going to do more than just talk about it.
We're gonna share a little juicy gossip
Rattle a few skeletons in the old town closet.
and try to give you an idea about what it's like to live here so close to Russia!
Well, I suppose the first big question about Fairbanks is,
Why?
Well, we started off with a big gold rush like Dawson or Nome, but the gold was a lot tougher to mine here in Fairbanks because it was buried deeper. So the miners stayed longer, brought their families, and dug in.
One reason they dug in was because most of the year there was no way to get out.
well, that's because steamboats were the major transportation. And then the railroad came, bringing with it the first president to visit Fairbanks, Warren G. Harding. And we all know what a winner he was.
Now, you know, folks, the first airplane in the whole territory was right here in town. But within a few years, we're flying all over this country. The real change for Fairbanks, though, came in World War II, when the Army Corps of Engineers built the Alaska-Canadian Highway. That linked us to the rest of the world.
After that, it went all downhill.
Alaska became a state in 1959, although, folks around here figured we'd be better off as an OPEC country, selling you folks oil.
When oil was discovered on the North Slope,
The big oil companies got involved.
And by 1977,
We had our first big tourist attraction.
The pipeline!
oil spill.
Other than that, it's been pretty quiet around here in the last 100 years or so. Have we covered everything?
We had a few earthquakes.
Nothing much to brag about.
we've had some pretty good fires.
Floods?
Oh, everyone still talks about the one in 1967.
And everyone still wants riverfront property.
Riverfront property. That brings us to the start of the Fairbanks story. That of a man hell-bent to set up a major trading post on the upper Tanana River. To achieve his objective, this turn-of-the-century entrepreneur took a steamboat loaded with trade goods up the mighty Yukon, up the majestic Tanana, and into the dinky Chena River.
I, Captain E.T. Barnett, passenger on the riverboat Lavelle Young, disembarked near this site on August 26, 1901, and established a trading post, which in 1902 became Fairbanks.
Well, that's partly true. But we didn't disembark. We were kicked off because that's as far as a steamer would go. I warned you. Everybody warned you. What goes up in the China doesn't necessarily come down. I was hysterical being stranded in the middle of nowhere. Thank you.
So there I was with my new wife Isabel, along with a couple other gold seekers of the usual sort, and I don't mean miners. Dumped off on a chunk of ground a little less swampy than elsewhere, but all pretty much...
God-forsaken country, let me tell you!
I don't know what we would have done if it weren't for the sudden appearance of a hungry, half-crazed, and very lucky miner named Felix Pedro!
That's me!
That fateful meeting marked the birth of modern civilization in the Tanana Valley.
Well, friend, I hear you've struck gold.
Oh, by God, I got a gold.
He's got a gold.
I'm just seated on the mother alone. Oh, by God, there's a big bunch of lot. I say, oh, by God, I got a gold.
Where?
Ah, it's right over there. Kinda. Take my word for it, she's a close.
Why, when word of this leaks out, miners will come from all over. Why, we can sell everything we've got.
Some things we can rent.
Hey, mister, you got any beans for sale? I'm mighty hungry.
Beans, I have beans.
My. Looks like it's been a long time since you've had a hot piece of apple pie, am I right?
Hey, wait a minute there. Are you some kind of a loose woman?
Loose! Honey, if you find anything on me that sags, you can keep it free for nothing. Oh, by God, I got it to go.
Oh, yes, we'll pay for the beans
There's plenty here for everyone. Why, this is just the break we were looking to start up a town.
Here? In the middle of nowhere?
Well, it's not much to look at now, I grant you, but look to the future. That's what I see when I look out on this valley. The future. I see a town.
It's a town.
In my imagination.
In his imagination.
I see a town.
A town.
Where?
Right here in my dream.
He sees in his dream.
I see a hustling, bustling, thriving, metropolis of rough, tough, good-hearted people. I say put up a town down by the river.
Put up a town down by the river. Put up a town down by the river. Hey, let's put up a town.
I see a fire department to handle any fire.
And a little white church with one of those fires. And a balcony in back for the men's and ladies' choirs.
What this place needs is a town. What it really needs is to put up a town down by the river. Put up a town down by the river. Put up a town down by the river. Hey, let's put up a town.
I see an opera house.
Oh yes, an opera house will do Aida and Faust. Faust. Oh yes, we must do Faust.
I see a city hall.
Oh yes, the city hall.
The good of all.
Oh yes, the good of all.
Grocery store.
Oh yes, the grocery store.
And a whole lot more.
We need a whole lot more. We need a party house.
What kind of a house?
Oh, an opera house will do Aida and Faust. Faust. Oh yes, we must do Faust. I see parks and lawns where the little children frolic.
A statue in the park, something meaningly symbolic.
And a first-rate clinic for the kiddies with the
couple of years to set up shop. Business, however, was not very good until he helped the word get out. And by January of 1903, the word was, well, in a word, incredible.
Telegram from the middle of nowhere to Dawson City, Yukon Territory. Stop. Rich strike in the Tanana Valley. Stop. Bigger than Bonanza, El Dorado, and Nome combined. Don't stop until you get to Barnett's Trading Post, Fairbanks, Alaska. Start now. Stop.
That was the word anyway, and it spread like soft butter on hot bread. So about 800 stampeders raced on out of Dawson for the only trading post in the Tanana Valley, 500 miles out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of winter, only to discover that the word had failed to mention a few important details.
Fairbanks a bust. Stop. No gold. No jobs. No food. Stop.
Stop!
Sorry!
Oh, there was gold out there, lots of it, as you know. But not many of those first stampeders were going to get much of it.
Oh, I'm mad.
Oh, I'm mad.
I'm so mad.
I'm so mad I could stop.
I'm so mad.
I'm so mad I could stop that wood. I'm so mad I could stop that wood till the break of dawn. They told us it was here. They made it absolutely clear. But the gold was never here. And now it's gone. Oh Lord, it's gone. Oh God, it's gone. Oh, I'm so mad I could stop.
Yes, it seems at the time that the only one striking it rich was a certain shopkeeper, pencil miner, and stampede starter named E.T. Barnett. Now, a few people thought he was a scoundrel and should be hanged. Barnett also had his supporters, and he would live to see his trading post become a boom town. Apparently his vision and blind luck did the trick. Seems he had managed to win the favor of Alaska's new federal judge, James Wickersham, who paid his respects to Fairbanks that very spring of 1903. Wickersham said of the visit, and I quote,
The town is a half a dozen squat log cabins, a few tents, and a clearing in the primeval forest. Barnett's trading post is a rough log structure that looks like a pigsty.
end quote. But Wickersham saw fit to put the court and jailhouse here anyway, giving Fairbanks the stamp of official approval, if not the Good Housekeeping Award.
And as you can imagine, there was a lot of housekeeping to do. That's always been a respectable role for women. The nurturer, the caregiver, the homemaker. Fairbanks would have never survived its first decade without us. Or without them. So the city fathers fenced off 4th Avenue. Directly behind City Hall, where the so-called ladies of the line could brighten the lives of needy bachelors.
That long row of cabins was a healthy part of the Fairbanks economy for quite a few years. You might even say it was our first big cottage industry.
And while work and circumstance usually kept us apart,
Sometimes chance and necessity threw us right together.
well, let's say a respectable proximity anyway. In the early days before our town got organized, these women could find themselves doing a load of wash at the 1st Avenue bathhouse and laundry. Respectable women work both night and day.
Working day and night in the most respectable way.
Never letting down, never letting down, never
By 1910, many Fairbanks residents had shared 20 years of adventures together in the far north. Fraternal organizations like the Arctic Brotherhood were founded and flourished. Now, newcomers with the right connections were welcome, but no women were allowed.
You bet your bloomers.
And after this next number, you'll understand why the women didn't complain.
Hey!
So I best turn the stage over to a couple of the gents for a smoker at the Arctic Brotherhood.
Well, Kim Barnett, what a pleasure to see you. And Judge Wickersham come right on in.
And they taste just like pine nuts. Good evening, brother.
Good evening, brother.
Come on in, Muley, don't be shy.
What do you call yourselves?
The Arctic Brotherhood, the first fraternal order of the great land.
Is it just my imagination, or is everybody looking at me?
Oh, don't pay them any mind. It's just because you're my guest. They'll warm up to you.
Oh, that's good.
Once you join the club.
Now just hold on.
Attention, please. I have a candidate here for membership. Mr. Muley McGee, late of the Tenderfoot Dairy Farm in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and my cousin. Are there any objections to his entry?
I object.
Not you. None? Then welcome, brother.
Congratulations!
Brother, show Brother Muley our secret handshake.
Now, just hold on a second here. I just walked in the door. You already made me a member before I even had a chance to say hello.
Kid, have you got the $5 initial dues?
$5?
$5 bucks.
I got 4.
Close enough.
Close enough. Now, here's the handshake. Yeah, it goes like this. Goes A-R-C. T-I-C.
Arctic
Can you do this again? Brothers.
Next comes the initiation.
Well, I thought that was the initiation.
The values of our brotherhood are quite simple. Fraternity, your roots, and fine song.
Now when you're at a smoker at the Arctic Brotherhood, whiskey flows like water flows, company's always good. And you can sit in your favorite chair most all afternoon. No one will even know you're there till you yawn, you stretch, you hum a little tune, and smoker, a little poker on the side. Smoker, to the faint of heart, get taken for a ride.
Whiskey flows like water here. Cigar smokes thick as soup.
But brotherly love flows just as thick if your spirits start to droop. So leave that ball and chain at home where we all know she belongs. 'Cause when the boys get together, the boys will be boys. Tell 'em lies.
Make a noise!
Sings the good old songs at the smoker. There you go. Smoker, a little poker on the side. Smoker, we're slow down and dirty when the stakes get high.
So come to the smoker, it's a dangerous den where the women ain't allowed and it's just men among men. At the smoker, at the Arctic Brotherhood. What do we do now?
Round we go. Other way now.
Try and get me did.
Me first. Now you. Together.
At the end of the night when you're lonely and so awfully misunderstood.
You've always got your brothers.
No sisters, wives, and mothers, but you've always got your brothers at the Arctic Brotherhood. And that's good.
One way to avoid the cold and loneliness of the far north was to have friends in groups, as seen there in the Boys' Night In. What about the boys' night out?
Yeah.
There were ways to avoid the cold and loneliness. Ways that included the Daughters of Eve. Now, even if you didn't belong to one of the 20 or so fraternal organizations in Fairbanks, a guy with the price of a drink could meet any of the talented cream of the abundant crop of actresses and dancers at any of the 20 or so dance halls. They were home to minors and dandies and some dandelions. Yes, Fairbanks was a town with few last names. Women were known by colorful monikers, just like the men. Imagine Ham Grease Jimmy or Two-Step Louie, with the likes of Passionate Annie or the Utah Philly. Come with us now for a look at those pioneer entertainers who risked life and limb just to bring more joy to the hearts of the lonely miner in. A salute to the dance hall girl.
Louder.
In a good old time saloon, they wouldn't let me sing because I couldn't find the tune.
Oh, brother.
But I practiced and I practiced till I found that perfect day. And now they let me sing and dance my little heart away. They calls me luscious Louise. I just comes up from valleys to entertain you. I learned to strut my steps and I hoops and take knocks to entertain you. I'm wearing ruffles and lace, 2 spots of rouge on my face. I got the twinkles in my eye. I tried 100% to pay my board and my rent. I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna dance, I'm gonna live before I die. Woo! Woo!
Come on, folks. Get your hand there. There you go.
I am the Oregon Bear and my stage name is Minnie. When I do the can, I do it with a whinny. Yeah! I flare my nostrils, I snort and I huff. I horse around a little, 'cause I like to play rough. I like to bare my teeth, I like to toss my mane. I'll hoof around in circles till I drive you insane. I am the Oregon Bear, Oregon Minnie, that's me. I'm a thoroughbred filly, I'm no sad sack. I'll buck you till you're dizzy if you get my back. I am the Oregon Bear, yeah! Stand up if you dare, eat your heart out, Louise. I am the Oregon Bear, Oregon Minnie, that's me.
Yay, Minnie. I know Silver.
Oh, I am Peaches Latour, and I am straight from Paris. I do the can whisper, wee, wee. I'm causing scandals and rumors by showing my bloomers, doing the can Parisian. You gave me shade. Check out this little dimple that I've got on one knee. Oh, let me blow you a kiss, s'il vous plaît, moi. 'Cause peaches doesn't hold special way.
Aren't you lovely? Aren't you delicate?
I've got a kick that won't quit. I like to swear they could spit to keep you howling wolves at bay. I do the can very easy and my own special way. Wee, wee, wee. All right, I can call you. Ooh-la-la. Numbers. Ay-ay-ay. Not fascist. Hey, what is it?
Pretty good idea of why vaudeville died.
What are you doing, you big guy? What happened to your camera, honey?
It died.
Died.
It died.
I know.
You hate it when that happens, don't you?
I'm off in a little while. We can charge it up.
Well, by 1910, it was the end of an era in our town. Gold production began to fall, and so did E.T. Barnett. Yes, apparently our founding father slipped out of town on a dog sled in the middle of the night, in the middle of winter. Charges of embezzlement from the Washington Alaska Bank, which he owned, never quite stuck, except in the minds of investors who lost all their savings in the crash of 1911. And Felix Pedro,
That's me!
the miner who started it all,
That's me too!
died. Yeah, he died. 8 years to the day after making his discovery. Judge Wickersham, on the other hand, stayed and made a good life from his judging, and a good living from his prime Fairbanks property.
You know, it seems like a lot of our history's gotten torn down.
Covered up.
Yeah, repaved.
Recycled.
used up.
Or changed so much we don't recognize it anymore.
Yeah, but, you know, Mike, some things haven't changed. We still have one of the highest costs of living of anywhere in the U.S.
Yes, but on the other hand, this is the least desirable place to live, so it all balances out.
I bet some of you are wondering why folks still want to live around here. I mean, after all, Fairbanks looks pretty much like anywhere else in the world.
Well, it's simply a matter of choice, Matt. I mean, we choose to live in this place, where we can take boiling water and throw it up in the air at 50 below and never see it come down. Vaporizes with a pop.
Yes, we can amuse ourselves every winter by hooking a bunch of dogs up to a sled to drag us 1,000 miles into the wilderness.
While being chased by a dozen other teams and a CNN camera crew.
Yes, nowadays dog mushing is even more popular than it was the night E.T. Barnett slipped out of town.
And modern mushers, man and woman alike, have to know their teams like the back of their hand.
Because when you hit the frozen trail in these parts, it's important to know how your team works. Who's on your tail, who's on lead, and here's Flynn to tell us all about it.
Thank you, Matt. Now, as you may know, the lead dogs are the 1 or 2 specially trained dogs that show the team the way to go and respond to commands from the musher. Now, your swing dogs are the ones in the middle. They help the team through tight turns without cutting the corner. Now, your wheel dogs are the ones right in front of the sled. They're your big, strong guys who always pull and never give up. Well, there's a weird team in the race this year. There's only 3 dogs on this team, and apparently, who's in lead, what's in swing, and I don't know is the wheel dog.
Say, Flynn, I've heard a lot about this team, and I was wondering if you could tell me about the names of the dogs on the team.
Oh, I'm telling you, who's in lead, what's in swing, and I don't know is the wheel dog.
So you know the dogs' names?
Well, yes.
Well, then who's in lead?
Yes.
I mean, the dog's name in lead.
Who?
The dog in front of the dog team.
Who?
The lead dog.
Who? Who is in lead?
Well, what are you asking me for?
Well, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Who is in lead?
I'm asking you. Who's in lead?
No, that's the dog's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Go ahead and tell me.
Who?
The dog in lead.
Who?
The lead dog.
Who is
there a
lead?
lead dog for this team?
Well, certainly.
Well, I'm trying to find out. What's the dog's name in lead?
You know, what's the swing dog's name?
I'm not asking you who's in swing.
Who's in lead?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Well, don't switch the dogs around
I'm
then.
not switching anything.
Okay.
What's the dog's name in lead?
What's the swing dog's name?
I'm not asking you who's in swing.
Who's in lead?
I don't know.
Oh, he's the wheel dog. We're not talking about him.
Wait, how did we get way over to the wheel dog?
You mentioned his name.
If I mentioned the wheel dog's name, then who did I say was pulling wheels?
Who's in lead?
Stay off the lead, will ya?
Well, don't mention any names then.
Okay, listen. What's the name of the wheel dog?
What's the swing dog's
I'm
name?
not asking you who's in swing.
Who's in lead?
I don't know.
Oh, he's the wheel dog.
Does this team have a good musher?
Absolutely.
Then tell me the musher's name.
Why?
Well, I just thought I'd ask.
Well, I just thought I'd tell you.
Then tell me, who's the musher?
Who's in lead?
Stay off the dog team! Listen, I want to know what's the musher's name.
What's the swing dog's name?
I'm not asking you who's in swing.
Who's in lead?
I don't know.
He's the wheel dog.
And the musher's name?
Why?
Because.
She's the handler. She's a great gal. Good job.
Wait a minute. Is there a sponsor for this team?
Well, they couldn't be in the race without a sponsor.
Tell me the sponsor's name.
Tomorrow.
You don't want to tell me today?
I'm telling you, man.
Then tell me the sponsor.
Tomorrow.
What time?
What time what?
What time tomorrow are you going to tell me who's the sponsor?
Listen, who is not the sponsor? Who?
You hear I'm trying to find out what's the sponsor's name.
What's the swing dog's name?
I'm not asking you who's in swing.
Who's in lead?
I don't know.
He's the wheel
dog. So, you give him good food.
Absolutely.
And the dog food's name?
Today.
Today. And tomorrow's the sponsor.
Well, are you, guy?
I'm a good musher too, you know.
Really?
I might want to help these guys sometime.
Well, we'll see what we can
You know,
do.
it's good for a musher to have a feel for his dogs. So, day before a big race, I got to get to know the team real well. So I mix them up a good meal with meat scraps. I might even throw in some eggs. And me being a good musher, I've got all in this big pot. And I want to be especially close to that lead dog. And I'm going to feed him first. So I go out into the dog yard and I give the food to who?
Well, that's the first thing you've said right.
I don't even know what I'm talking about!
Well, that's all you gotta do!
So I go out and I feed the dogs today. I get the food tomorrow. I give it to who, what for, I don't know, and I don't care.
What?
I said I don't care.
Oh, he's the guy that makes the sleds.
I give up. When does baseball season start?
In 1967, the Palace opened as an old-time saloon
Complete with brass spittoons, cold beer, and can-can girls.
with big hats with feathers.
Yes, lots and lots of feathers. That summer, Jim Bell, a young GI from Chicago, who was stationed here at Fort Wainwright, was hired to play the piano.
Well, he took the job to heart, and soon the Palace had one of the most popular live shows in town. And as an entertainer, he was fondly known as Jimmy Bluebell.
Bluebell composed hundreds of songs during the 35 years he entertained here, including all of the music in tonight's show. Jim isn't with us anymore, but his memory lives on through his songs, and here's one of our favorites. Whispers of scandal, a haunting refrain, the sound of a whistle from a long ago train.
Homesteads abandoned, no one remains. Ghosts of the gold rush, haunting refrains. Fortunes won, fortunes lost. Fortunes won, fortunes lost.
Murmuring voices from homes and saloons, the parlor piano that nobody tunes.
Shadows of splendor are all that remain. Ghosts of the gold rush, a haunting refrain.
Fortunes won, fortunes lost. Fortunes won, fortunes lost. Fortunes won, fortunes lost. Fortunes won, fortunes lost. Ghost of the gold rush, a haunting refrain.
Professor Timothy A. Gladbottom.
Good evening, class. We awake? Well, good evening, class. Good evening, Professor Gladbottom. This was just a reading test. All is well. Welcome to BS 101. You know, the future certainly isn't what it used to be. Sharp ones. Sharp ones. In Fairbanks, as with many other major American cities, quite a lot of the population lives outside the city proper. Now, in the continental United States, this area is known as suburbia. In Fairbanks, however, the term is the suburban bush. So let's all say that together, maybe on the count of 3 to make sure this new concept sinks in. 1, 2, 3. Suburban bush. Very good. And for good reason. You see, instead of keeping up with the Joneses, these people believe that progress might have been all right once, but it's gone on for too long. When faced with the choice of drilling a well, very expensive, and putting in plumbing, which is likely to freeze solid every winter, many local homeowners choose a simple and practical solution: the little brown shack out back. We're familiar with this technology. You see a lot of head bobbing. So let us take a closer look now at modern outhouse technology. Well, the basic design is still the same, remains the same, has been for some time now, usually with the dependable old-fashioned shed roof. Now this has got a bit of an upgrade. Here's got the corrugated one. A great advantage to this is this: if you're out going about your business and you're pensive and all, there's a gentle rain hitting the roof gently. It provides a melodic tone, very relaxing to help you achieve. Now, size will vary. depending on whether you want one hole or two. I have never understood why anyone would want a two-holer. Do we have anybody here that would like to share some experience with a two-holer? Anyone has experienced a two-holer? You, sir? No? No? Right. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Why would you want company in this most private moment? Now, the plain old slab door here quite often gets decorated with the traditional crescent moon cutout. Very charming. However, up here many homeowners do away with the door problem altogether by simply not having the fourth wall. Now, this option is a little chillier, I will admit, but the ventilation is good. Especially if you happen to have a two-holer in there. This is a no-fly zone, and the view is superb. I believe this concept originates from Missouri, the show-me state. And that takes us right to the golden heart of the matter, right to the fundamental feature of the outhouse, a warm place to sit. Now, most locals here favor the traditional equipment, the old-fashioned wooden seat that hangs behind the stovepipe, keeping it nice and warm and toasty until you are ready for that short walk after dinner. Few words of caution, though. If it's been a particularly cold day or week, you might want to give the finger test here. You wouldn't want to end up with hot crust buns. The other thing is you want to watch out for splinters. Failure to properly sand and buff this little beauty has been known to cause deep-voiced men to yodel! Still my favorite. Another favorite with the locals is the styrofoam seat. Now, this one does not have to be brought back in to thaw or warm up. It stays soft, warm, and ample in the coldest weather. Because of the crazy weather we have up here, wide ranges, people cover their seats with an infinite variety of material. Take, for example, this Arctic fun fur covering. Guaranteed to provide you with hours of wonderful memories, lasting impressions, and I don't mind saying, it makes for a nice airline logo. Now, if you prefer the homey touch, then we also have the quilted model. Any quilters in the class here tonight? You probably won't put your hand up. But I tell you, there's something here, gold mine in this. It hasn't hit Pinterest yet. Every stitch sewn with love, every swatch tells a story. Well, let's not get into any of these stories for now. But you can see from all this that the suburban bush dwellers view the outhouse as a chance to express themselves. And that gives rise to the theme outhouse, where the designer builder can truly showcase their talent. Take a look, for example, at this basic log and slab construction, referred to locally as the Call of the Wild. Ow, ow, ow. Oh, beautiful. Comes with a soundtrack. And in the fall, it doubles as a duck line. Any hunters, you can multitask. Sometimes you will see modern architecture behind the house, as demonstrated by this geodesic dome outhouse. Interesting feature to this one is this spectacular glass dome, which, if you time it just right, or you happen to decide to take your time and you're there for a while, you might be treated to a wonderful Northern Lights display in your own private viewing booth. No matter what else happens, you can't be cornered in there. Now, prepare to ooh and awe. Let's hear some oohs and ahs. Warm up your oohs and ahs for this fancy dream model called Fantasia. Yeah. These are for the wealthier district of the suburban bush. I reckon even Rapunzel can let her hair down in this one. Gives new meaning to the word throne room. You can see from all this that the outhouse has somewhat become a symbol for a state of mind in these parts. While the rest of the world is racing through the 21st century, the local attitude is, have a seat. Take a load off. And it's that kind of thinking that does my heart good. Class dismissed. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Professor. By the way, I'd like to reassure any of you taking the Salmon Big bus after the show. Actually, if you're taking any of the tourist buses after the show, don't worry, because your drivers know who you are, they know where you are, and they don't care. No, they don't. But I do, and I'm not going to let them leave without you, I promise. So, you can just sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Some of you are aware that Fairbanks has enjoyed temperatures that range all the way from a sultry 99 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 37 Celsius, down to a very brisk minus 66, which is minus 54.5 Celsius. Now that gives us the widest temperature range of any city on the planet. But not only that, here in Tanana Valley we enjoy 5 seasons. We have winter, of course, breakup, construction, freeze up, and winter. Now, a lot of locals like winter best because mosquitoes die off and we get to go back outside. But other folks seem to think winter's a fine time to leave. And it's usually right around December we begin to hear our favorite wintertime anthem. Honolulu, 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 Honolulu. Aloha!
That means goodbye!
Yes, there are those who head south for the winter, and those who stay to battle with the weather. We salute that hardy breed of Alaskan with our Tanana Valley all-weather fashion review, featuring the many moods of the season. Lynn is modeling our bigger is better down parka with the glow-in-the-dark safety bear accessory. This parka is personalized by stains and holes from battery acid she spilled while carrying a frozen car battery several winters ago. Giant pockets carry mittens, a flashlight, and crescent wrench for removing frozen car batteries. Mike chooses the liberating Snowmobiler Special. A good bet for all but the coldest January days. Note the extended wear duct tape patches on elbows and knees. Across the back, bold and dashing stripes and light reflective tape shout, "Here I am, world!" on those dark winter nights. Both our models are equipped with versatile headgear that fit the temperatures, worn so for warm winter days. But when the ice fog creeps in, his fuzzy ball face cap creeps down, while her parka hood moves into periscope position, keeping faces cozy, adding a touch of romance. Balmy December days are a wonderful excuse to wear down vests. And down vests are a wonderful excuse for more pockets, or a small ice scraper, a chapstick, extra socks, a toothbrush, and plenty of candy bars for added insulation. Now a word about footwear. Flynn looks smart in her two-tone sorrels, while Mike walks funny. It is no nonsense vapor barrier bunny boots. Like the Minnesota bachelor farmer, the contemporary Alaskan wears his and hers white load pants and overalls, always 3 sizes too large, with optional belt and or suspenders. And underneath, Flynn wears our ever popular, ever wrinkling cotton peasant skirt. And underwear isn't just underwear anymore, not with our thermal Alaskans, guaranteed to shrink in every wash, perfect for sitting or kneeling. As we climb out of winter into the mud and slush, our duo trade in their felt packs for break-up boots, guaranteed by Goodyear for 10,000 puddles, 5 spring thaws. Mike goes casual with galoshes, which should never be zipped, but worn loosely for that devil-may-care look. Both are wearing their favorite flannel shirts, with pockets large enough to accommodate travel packs of Kleenex for nagging winter sniffles. Bless you, Flynn. Or in summer, the life-saving bottle of Cutter's mosquito repellent. And when this heavy musk wafts through the Tanana Valley, the molting and torting process begins in earnest until our contemporary Alaskans emerge from their cocoons, stripped down for the midnight silent van. But not stripped down too far, for those chilly autumn days are just around the corner. And so we come full cycle with our Tanana Valley all-weather fashion review.